Hey, thanks for clicking on my video. This is Rocky and this review will be for episode 6 of The Flash. And all I have to say is supersonic punch. There we go, review done. Thanks guys. Alright, so I should probably say a few more things about the episode, but that line just killed it for me. That was awesome. Definitely geeked out a lot during this episode. We get the introduction of a new villain in the name of Tony or Anthony Woodard, aka Girder from the comics. And what was nice about this is they actually tied this villain into Barry's own history, as he was Barry's childhood nemesis or bully. And we get, some of those childhood flashbacks of Barry, as well as during those flashbacks we get scenes of him, beginning to learn to fight a little bit from Joe. And, Iris, unfortunately, kind of kicks his butt a little bit, too, in the flashbacks. But it was nice seeing that, this is a villain that was tied to Barry's history. And, it definitely gave him that extra motivation. The special effects of Girder were very cool as well. It reminded me of similar to how Colossus was in the X-Men movies, or more recently how the Absorbing Man was portrayed when he put on his metal skin, basically, in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So definitely a variation from the comics, as in the comics he essentially looked like he had steel plates all over his body and essentially kind of like steel dreadlocks. And, he was prone to rusting. That was kind of the big thing in the comics with him. In this, I didn't really see that too much. It always seemed to have that metal exterior skin, but then again, he didn't have it on as much, so, maybe they'll change that effect. I'm not sure, but he was a very good villain, I thought. He definitely seemed menacing, especially in the scenes with Iris, so definitely a very enjoyable villain introduced in this episode. We also, in this episode, finally get Detective West questioning Dr. Wells. He does it, he tries to do it slyly, but Dr. Wells picks up on it pretty quick. But we knew this had to happen eventually, as, everything connected back to the particle accelerator, and that's where Barry got his speed. So where did this, mysterious man from the past that could run really fast come from that killed Barry's mother? Was there a previous particle accelerator? That's what Wes was thinking. Obviously, that's not the case. At this point, he hasn't even thought to make the connection of, well, maybe this guy is from the future. Because, we haven't seen that part of Barry's powers develop yet as far as the time traveling. So, but like I said, we knew it had to happen eventually. Joe's a good cop, a great detective. So he naturally is going to question Wells. So Wells is kind of rubbed the wrong way about that, but they come to terms by the end of the episode, sort of. So again, that was very great to see. In this episode, we also got a lot more scenes with Eddie. We haven't seen too much of him or heard too much of him. I mean, he's been in some episodes here and there, but we haven't seen a lot of information about him. So in this episode, we comically get him and Barry, boxing with the heavy bag, which, brought some comical moments just thinking about who Eddie could potentially be. But, we find out that even he was bullied as a kid. He was overweight and, he had a rich father that was a senator, that a lot of people were laid off, and just all that connected back to his father and things like that. So he was, bullied as a child as well. And he kind of gave Barry some tips on that. And, of course, it gave us a scene of Barry punching through the bag, which was awesome. But we're also seeing that Eddie's starting to notice things that are odd. When with these metahumans, there's more and more of them coming out of the woodwork. So he's starting to notice things. Because, again, he's a pretty good detective as well. But, again, this is all kind of interesting because of who Eddie might be. And who a lot of us think he is. But that may not be the case because this show's definitely been playing on some names and things like that. So I definitely enjoyed getting to know Eddie a little bit more. So those scenes were very great. Hope you guys enjoyed them as well. Because it gave them a chance to kind of relate to each other. Because, Eddie kind of opens up that, at first he was kind of jealous of Barry and Iris's relationship because they were so close. But again, he didn't make the connection that Barry is actually in love with Iris. But we get those scenes of them together. So again, it was very nice just seeing a little bit more about Eddie, seeing a little bit more development of his character. Still don't quite know how he's gonna play out in this show, but again, it was just nice getting that look through the looking glass, as it were, on Eddie, and just finding out a little bit more about his history. So definitely the scenes of the night for me had to be the fights between Barry and Gerda, especially towards the end where, Barry gets his butt kicked and runs away. But he runs away with a purpose. He runs the exact distance he needs to be able to try and break the sound barrier, or break Mach 1.1, I believe was the mark he had to hit, around 800 some odd miles per hour. And he just goes full force back to the school to take out Eddie, not Eddie, but Anthony, and he hits him, and you see the armor drop from him, and it's just, like I said, I kind of geeked out totally during that moment. I was like bouncing around on the couch, like just all excited, because it was a very awesome scene. The only thing that kind of took away from me is the fact that it looked like he jumped when he hit him, which seemed a little odd, because if he jumped, then technically he would probably lose some of his speed, as opposed to if he kept running. Just, a little nitpick, that I just wanted to let you guys know. But again, very awesome scene. Special effects were done great. And just seeing, again, Barry's pushing his limits. He's trying to see how far he can go, how fast he can go, what he can do with his feet. So, and then plus we get the payoff that, technically Barry isn't the one that defeated Tony. Iris did. So that was, just, gave a little bit more to her character. So that was great to see. And, we get Anthony now in the particle accelerator prison, as it were. The thing that it's, Barry kind of slipped up, I thought, because he actually let Anthony know who he was. I mean, I can see why he did it, because he wanted to make his point about, I beat you kind of thing, and, you're using your powers wrong, you could have been doing good with them. So I can understand the point, but then it's like, dude, you let him see your face. You don't do that, because what if he gets out, right? And then, this brings back to the previous mistake with Captain Cold. He didn't see Barry, of course, because he was in costume, but he saw Felicity, Caitlin, and Cisco. So, these are just kind of little minor slip-ups that, are going to come back potentially to bite him in the butt later on. But again, it was just awesome moments, and, the interactions between Barry and Tony were great, seeing that childhood nemesis thing, and just seeing that a villain was fully connected to him in that way. And it was kind of funny that, Barry basically named himself as the Flash to Iris. I was kind of hoping that she would just pick up on that and name him herself. But, it just ties back to what Oliver told him in episode 1, mentioning that, he'll save a city like a Flash, so it just ties back into that. So, they are remembering that, not slipping up with any plot holes with that. But, we actually, finally get him named as the Flash. So now moving forward, he's the Flash, not the Blur, not the Streak, anything like that. And, we definitely did get a surprise at the end of the episode with Detective West going over the files from Barry's mother's murder. And, he gets a visitor, a very scary visitor, and now we know that person is existing right now as well. But we don't know who it is again. But, it's that Blur, that Flash character, Reverse Flash. We don't know which Reverse Flash it is. At this point, I mean, it could be one of them, it could be the other one, it could be both Reverse Flashes. I mean, there's been multiple characters taking on that name. But, just seeing that, how scared Joe got. The fact that, this person's threatening Iris now. And all the evidence is gone. So how's Barry going to react to that? Is Joe even going to tell Barry about it? I hope he does, because, they have that trust between them, but he might just be too scared to do it. So, yeah, I mean, this was a great episode, I thought. In some ways it wasn't as strong as some of the previous episodes we've had, but in other ways it was, because it gave us a lot more fleshing out of Barry's character with the flashbacks with Tony and Iris and Joe, and, getting that payoff that, this big bad is existing right now. And, again, we don't know who it is, but just having that over Joe now and seeing how he's going to react to that. Because Iris is very, very important to him, right? So he's not going to want her to get hurt. But is he going to let Barry know what's going on? It's just, very exciting to see how this is gonna pay off later on in the series. So yeah, overall, very great episode, very strong episode. Not as strong as some of the others, but I definitely still encourage everyone to check out Flash. It's, in my opinion, probably about the best comic adapted show there's been in a long time, including the shows that are on right now. Is it my favorite superhero show right now? No, but it's definitely up there on the list. But as far as adapting from a comic and keeping the superpowers and the theme of it, yeah, it's definitely right there on the top, I think. So I hope you guys are enjoying The Flash as well. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, go ahead and give me a thumbs up and share the video through Twitter, Facebook, Google+, whatever social media is most convenient for you. And if you haven't already, definitely go ahead and follow me on Twitter. You can follow me at @rocks_reviews. Definitely reach out to me there. Any questions you guys have or anything you want to chat about, definitely hit me up. I check that as often as I can. And if you haven't already as well, go ahead and subscribe to my channel, as I will be doing weekly reviews of The Flash, as well as the other Marvel and DC television shows going on right now. You can go ahead and hit that big red subscribe button above my little cartoon character head, and I'll be happy to have you guys aboard. And if you've gone ahead and subscribed to my channel already, thank you very much. I really do appreciate it. And I hope you guys are all enjoying the videos. All that being said, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Bye.